Hi, it's Warren Huart here. Hope you're doing marvellously well. Today in our mix breakdown series, we're going to do Alexx Calise's song, Wasting Away. Now, I wrote this song with Alex, and as per usual, I say this as per usual, when I'm writing, I also turn that demo into the production. So she and I had a rough idea of the kind of song we wanted to write, believe it or not. So I just went into the live room and used a Huart pencil condenser and just recorded a very simple acoustic guitar idea. And that went throughout the whole song. And it's a really, really straightforward chord progression. It's a very normal chord progression. You've heard it on lots of songs. But to be frank, it was simple. I ended up building against it, and we wrote the song against this simple arpeggiated guitar. So when we break down the song and the mix and everything, you'll hear all of the different elements. And once again, it's a demo that we ended up adding production to, and that's the finished song. I've talked about this many times before. My old engineer recorded Adele's Someone Like You in a studio I have in Hollywood. And that was essentially just a pair of U87s over the Yamaha C7 down there. And Adele was in the other room with a U48, which is a very nice, obviously, Neumann microphone. And Dan Wilson plays the piano, she sings it live, and then she did 2 more takes, and the comp was basically like a verse from here, a chorus from there, the bridge from another take, and that was it. It was like 3 pieces stuck together. And it was, you know, the quote-unquote, the demo. And when they came to release the track, another producer had done this full-blown production on it, but they went back to the demo because the demo had the essence of the song. So it's very important to think about what's the best way to show off the song. And sometimes that is a massive production, and sometimes that is a re-record because the demo's in the wrong tempo, wrong key, the arrangement isn't right, etc., etc. But very often, and I think this is really important, that's the reason why I'm reiterating it, very often the song in its purest form is when you have just written it. So that's why for a lot of guys and girls like us, people that have our own setups, it's great when you can capture something to a decent enough quality that it might actually end up being the finished result. The microphone I used was like $200. The guitar was an old Yamaha that I have from the 70s, which is probably also worth about $200. So it's not about the gear, it's not a lot of money thrown against it, it's just about the creativity and the idea. We had a very simple idea, I went in and played it, I came back out with her, we've worked on the melody idea a little more for the vocal, finished up the lyrics, she went in there and sang a vocal against it, and then we layered against it until we got the finished result. But it was very pure, it's acoustic guitar, vocal, and then we're building around it. I think this is a perfect one to give you guys to practice on as well. So if you go to the website and you hit free stuff, you can download the song. Just sign in on the email list and you'll get the free stuff. You'll get that and other sessions as well. Obviously, you can try out the Academy, where every month we give away a free track and we do basically mix challenges. You can do that as well, but you don't have to. You can still sign up and get a whole bunch of free stuff, and we're adding to that as well. So let's get stuck in and check it out. Okay, so here we are. Here's the original acoustic here. It's called Warren Acoustic, obviously. And looks like we did a little idea at the front. Just tried some stuff. And yeah, then it's one full take. And all I did was punch in and do 2 fixes. So this main acoustic here, and then I doubled it. So there's a single intro on its own, and then it doubles throughout the song. So it's very, very straightforward. Let's have a listen to the acoustic on its own. Yeah, it's a performance, not looped. It looks like I took the first couple of bars here and put them on the front. It's actually that's the same part on the front there. I can tell it's the same. The intro we added afterwards, but essentially that's it. So if we go through the song, let's go to the chorus here. Same sequence. It's just a climb down. For those of you that are super musical, it's a 1, 5, 6, 4. It's a descending line with the G shape, then it's going to the D with the F sharp in the bass, then an E minor, and then a C. Just the G shape, D with the F sharp in the bass, open E minor to C. Okay, so very simple. That goes throughout the whole song. So let's listen to the top. Double with an electric. Very straightforward. Looks like I got a little lazier on this and just copied and pasted a section that felt good. This is definitely loops. That will be probably the Yamaha Pacifica on the neck position. So they're pan 50-50. No EQ, no compression, nothing going on the electric. It's just as it's recorded. That's a Marshall amp, an old JMP. And that's the Yamaha Pacifica neck pickup. Now with the acoustic, there's a little bit of extra work going on it. All it really is just a high pass at 131, just very gently rolling off. If I put this back on, not making a huge difference, just getting rid of the low rumble. Don't be afraid to use high passes where you need them. At a clean front like that, you know, even though I didn't do anything on the electric, that's because I was a lot more tone shaping with the amp than I do with an acoustic. You know, when you've got a guitar amp, you can sit there and you can roll off the super lows quite easily and not have them in at all, and there's no worry about it. With an acoustic guitar, one of the things I've got is I'm in a more like a home environment than a, expensive studio. So I might have air conditioning rumbling lowly in the background. So doing a gentle roll off like that on an acoustic guitar is not a bad idea. Don't be afraid to use high pass in certain situations. With instruments like acoustic guitar, I don't need super lows. Cool, and then of course my old friend MV2, you know I'm a big fan of this plugin. Take it off. I mean, need I say more? It really evens it out. You know, and it's great. It's a great plugin. When the double comes in here, it's the same EQ and compression settings. I lied, it is not a double, it's actually a harmony to it. Not only is it not a harmony or a double, it's actually just a separate part. It's almost like a music box. You know, the thing with this song is the song's called Wasting Away. It's... Alex can talk more authoritatively about it, but you know, it's about death, and it's about death of somebody who was very close to her, and family. And I think that a little beauty in there. You know, it's one of the things that I like about like early 9 Inch Nails or Bowie, Scary Monsters period, when it was a little kind of, he was trying some like out-of-tune piano stuff. Having like little beautiful things juxtaposed against kind of darker subjects is really, really cool. So I think this was an afterthought, this double, this like harmony part, it's like a little beautiful, little pretty part. Like a little music box, but on the acoustic. So without the vocal in it, it's like a beautiful, pretty song. But you put the vocal in it and it's, it's sad, it's about death. Okay, so let's go to the front of the song. Doubled electric with acoustic. yes, the vocal is that compressed. It's really, really up front. I did some crazy stuff. It's kind of distorted and fat and yucky and exactly what I wanted it to be. If you see here, she's very on the mic. It's very breathy. Look at the volume automation I've got going on here. So this is the main vocal up here. Now what I did, well, a couple of things I did. So firstly, I'm doing a huge amount of volume automation where she's singing softly.
Here but a moment, just as quickly you were gone.
And it's pretty, you hear warts and all, it's like really up front, it's gritty, you're getting all the noises in her voice. And if this was a super, super pretty pop song, then I would probably have spent hours getting rid of all those little things. And well, to be honest, I would have recorded it differently, but I didn't. This is supposed to be just a little darker, you know. Well, going back to 9 Inch Nails, it's a good reference. So on the initial one here, bit of high pass at 90, probably maybe some AC rumble, you know, we all have stuff like that. Arvox, good friend of mine, I love Arvox. So it's gentle compression going into my vocal sub. Again, you can go to the vocal recording, sorry, the vocal mixing video and you'll see it. But this is the addition that makes all of the difference. This is my parallel compression. So what I did, as you can see, it's just at one volume, but it is the vocal doubled again. Now, you can set up a bus if you like. I didn't. I just took the lead vocal and I duplicated it. You can set up a bus. You can send this to a separate bus. But, you know, Pro Tools, whatever your DAW is, it's quite easy just to duplicate the track and process it that way as well. Workflow. What works for you is what works for you. So, again, same roll-off, but here's the difference, the Maxim. Look at what the Maxim's doing.
Here but a moment, just as quickly you were gone.
And Arvox after it.
Here but a moment,
look at the compression on the
Arvox. As quickly you were gone.
So what's it doing? Well, you can see what it's doing and you can hear what it's doing. Obviously, if you're listening, please.
Here but a moment, just
it's just like, it is at the same volume the whole time. It does not disappear. Look at it here. It's like just slammed. It's not limited, but it's super, super compressed. Breaths are exaggerated, you name it. That's what we wanted. It's got a chorus where she's wailing a bit more. It just doesn't go away. There's no dynamics in the vocal at all with that parallel compressed channel. Now put the two together and you get a very present vocal.
Here but a moment, just as quickly you were gone.
Now you can tell me it's not pretty, you can tell me it's ugly sounding, you can tell me, you know, you can hear all those inflections and stuff like that, and you know, my response will be, good. That's what we wanted. It's supposed to be just like this. You know, it's not supposed to be a perfect sounding vocal. I wanted to bring out all the frailty, all the wrongness, everything in her vocal. You know, this is really where production / mixing comes in. You decide what you want and you commit to it.
Here but a moment, just as quickly you were gone.
Like I said, if this was a pretty pop song, that wouldn't work.
So sad to think that nothing lasts forever.
Now there's my vocal thickening trick down there. You can go to the video and see that. Okay, so what's the next thing that happens? In comes a highline bass idea that I did. So I did a couple of things here. There's a couple of ways that I mix bass. In this one here, I've got a lot of stuff going on my DI. I'm using it just to create real fat, low-end, consistent bass. Now, the reason why I use the DI is because usually it's a lot purer sound. You don't have tube distortion. You don't have, you know, speaker rattle. You don't have all of the things that amps give you, which you like, but are difficult to control when it comes to the low end. When I use a DI and I do that amount of multiband compression and EQ, it's because I'm trying to create a big fat just bottom end that's consistent. If you listen, no matter what note I'm playing, you just hear that. If you look at those meters over there, you'll see that they dance around the same position the whole time. So in this instance, as I say, I'm using the DI for the pure, consistent bottom end that never goes away. And then on my amp, which is the Ashdown that I have, which is I bought used for $200. I've got my Lewitt mic on it, as you know, and then I'm using one side ugly Sans amp distortion. It doesn't have to be a Sans amp, just some ugly distortion. As you can see, I'm rolling off quite high, so it's out of the way of the DI. Put the two together. And then I've got a much purer, more natural amp sound, but again with still with EQ on it. And if you'll notice, the first thing I've got in the chain on the DI is my time adjuster, which is just knocking the phase back here. So again, that's something that I highly recommend. It's just to bring the phase really accurate in. We talk about this a lot. Phase is really, really important. So what that's doing is it's pulling back it's pulling this back in phase with the bottom one. Before. Again, it's pretty minor because even though now the phase is more consistent, I've taken out so much of the low lows out of the bass amp that you're not really noticing it. Okay, so just to break down the DI just one stage further, you're going to see just how much I did to make that even. So time adjuster to put in phase with the amp. Secondly, I'm doing a low pass filter and rolling everything off except for the super lows. Here's one multiband going on here, just soloing the lows below 200 and below. You'll notice I'm heavily compressing it, so it's consistent. Even then, I added a Mac DSP doing the same thing, just tapping it. In fact, it's barely doing anything except where it goes. It's almost like I had to use different multibands to catch different notes because look, if I go to the chorus, it's an octave lower. See what happens there? That multiband's catching that note. And then there's another multiband. I know this seems crazy, but it works. And that multiband's just tapping over the top. Let's go to where I'm hitting the bass super, super hard, maybe about here. Yeah, tiny bit more. So essentially, yes, is that insane? Pretty much. 3 sets of multiband, but they're all controlling different levels of frequency. And, maybe there's one miraculous plugin out there that does it. But I think you'll notice a lot when you watch my stuff and you listen to the music I record is often I'll use multiple compressors, a little bit on each compressor. Especially that comes from recording, from years of recording and understanding that each compressor I have has a different inherent sound. And as much as I love DBX VUs, for instance, like a DBX 160 VU, if that compressor's too hard, you really hear it. It chokes. It doesn't matter how you set your attack and release on a 165, for instance, you hear it. I always was told that if you can see the needle showing gain reduction on a 160 VU, then you're compressing too much. I mean, it was almost like you have to tap it lightly. And then with an 1176, it has an inherent kind of crunchiness that I love, which is why it's so fantastic on snare drums, it's so amazing on electric guitars, and it's great in a vocal chain when balanced with something like a 160 VU. So essentially, you know, when we were tracking, I was, you know, being shown by great engineers, they would use 160s lightly and an 1176 afterwards lightly, and those two compressors with an inherently different sound could capture incredible signals. So that's why I personally like to use multiple compressors that do different things. Okay, cool. So there is our bass, there's our acoustic, there's our electric, and our vocal sound. Now, this continues on until we get to the pre-chorus.
Not a day goes by, I don't question why, I'll never understand. And I'm wasting away without you. When you left, took everything, you never.
So the drums were recorded here in the little room in there, which sounds remarkable. We just did a song for Ace Frehley. I won't say who plays on it or anything yet because the song isn't out. And we recorded the drums in that little room, and we added all of the same things that we did here. And the guest singer that sang on the song, we sent the stems to his engineer, and his engineer emailed me and said, "Wow, these drums are huge. Where did you record them?" I was like, "In my little room." So, you know, it's great to go to Sunset Sound. It's great to go to United. It's great to go to these incredible drum rooms. But, you know, I can tell you, you can get massive drum sounds by using, you know, like the 6 mics like I do and adding some sounds. So speaking of which, just listen to the basic sounds. Here is the live kit. So it sounds good. And then I'm adding my addictive kick. You can hear it's adding quite a lot. Addictive snare. This is aggressive. But what I also added was the D28. If you go to the website and sign up for the email list, you'll get it for free. You can go to free stuff. And that's something I created. And it just adds that biff. So that's added to all the drum sound. So those are all of our elements to give us the drum sound. Again, small drum room, right combination of samples and live, and you can get a big sounding drum sound. I've also got the crash cymbal that I added over the top. So we're just going to add this crash here. I do this a lot, and I think it was when I was working with Mark Ender and he was mixing the first Phrase single, and I had never thought about doing that. I know it sounds really obvious in today's world. This is like 2004. He just added crash cymbals at the front of the choruses. And I was like, well, this drummer's already playing the cymbals. And he's just like, yeah, but with the mix, you know, with additional this, that, and the other done to the drums, the cymbals get lost. So yes, so nowadays, you know, if I want to exaggerate the downbeat cymbals, I just add one. So if you can see what we're doing here. We've got a little slap delay on the bass. Just in the verses. And it's just adding a little chorus there, very slightly. That's a cool plugin, the Mindbender. And a little stereo spread. See, when you come to the chorus, it turns off and you get just a So, you know, I'm not afraid to mess up bass guitar sounds quite dramatically. And if you go to the chorus here, again, I've got pretty much as recorded guitars. Just framing the chords. Same voicings, G, G, D with F sharp in the bass. You hear the F sharp, E minor to the C. It's just getting that down, 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 down. Just framing the chords, very straightforward. The only thing I'm doing is that trick where I have one pan left, one pan right, and then the reverb of each guitar opposite each other. So left guitar has reverb of itself in the right, and vice versa. And I'll do that with everything. This is, you know, with Ace's album, we have dueling guitar solos with different guitar players. He's panned to one side slightly, and then his reverb and effects are on the other side, and then the guest guitar player is panning on the right side, and their effects on the other. So it's just a universal thing that I love to do. I think it creates more space in the mix and helps separate it. If you have the reverb in stereo underneath the guitar that's panned to one side, it just tends to get lost and swim in reverb. So I've got this simple driving line that comes in on the pre-chorus. It just goes over the existing guitar. Again, no EQ, no compression, it's just recorded the way I want to hear it. I mean, the truth is, and this is very important, when you're recording distorted guitars, quite often you don't need to compress them anymore because they're already distorted and saturated. What else do I need to do to that? And it's got a little delay. It's the Carl Martin delay pedal that I love, and that's already inherent in there as well. I mean, it's got everything I need in the sound. Okay, so now going to the chorus, the additional guitars that come in here. Now, this I did in a video. We'll have the link to the video. There's a video where I show how I did this guitar part. It sort of works off the vocal, because here's the vocal.
Goodbye, I'm wasting away.
Let's go back to the top of the vocal. So it's like, it's playing along with and mimicking the vocal melody somewhat. It's more of a Radiohead way of doing it. It's not exactly the same, but you'll hear it, you know, with the other guitars. You'll get an idea. And so it's not super loud. It's definitely in there. It's not like a massive feature, but it adds energy to the track. And I'll go through it quickly, but you can watch the other video on how I did it. So I've got that one, and then I've got the second one. Those are all bends. And then the last one is the Johnny Greenwood version of the same melody, where it's just... It's just me fast picking that part. Once again, there's a video of me actually recording this part on the song. Okay, that's all the elements in that first chorus. No keyboards. There was no keyboards harmed in the making of this song. So this was done entirely in Pro Tools. Nothing really from Logic. As complicated as it looks, it's actually quite straightforward. The only other addition that comes in is this harmony. And you know, it's pretty rough and ready, but it's kind of cool. Rough and ready works. Let's have a listen. So essentially the same thing's going on here. Same pre-chorus guitar coming in there. Very straightforward. Okay, so here is an additional guitar that comes in. Just open voiced guitars. No effects.
It's getting quiet. Front piece friendly. I can say time's been a good friend to me. Buried my pain so deep, couldn't get through to me. I don't wanna live with your ghost, wanna live with your memory.
Okay, so I've done this quite a few times before. So I took the vocal, put a verb on it. So what I did is I took just the word waste, I printed a reverb at 100% on it, and then I flipped it and reversed it, so it's a reverse reverb of the waste. And then I took the front half of it that I had already created and just put them together. So what it is like this part is the waste as you normally would hear it with verb on it. You hear waste, you hear it here? And then this is the reverse version. So we take the word waste, you put reverb on it, you print it on Audio Suite in Pro Tools, whatever your DAW is, 100% reverb of the word. You then duplicate it and reverse it. So it's going into itself and then decaying on the other side. So we get this. I used it on a few songs, you've heard me do it before. And just because I can, I've got Decapitator on it, distorting it a little bit. And a little MV2 to kind of exaggerate it, just to bring it a bit more out. It's creepy. You know, the song is about losing a very important, member of your family. And I think that, being difficult to deal with, which of course death would be. So I think it's, it's a combination of like prettiness and tenderness with, some darker stuff, because, that's a very dark subject. Okay, and here we have another John Greenwood style guitar I did at the end. Thank you ever so much for watching. Again, that was one of those songs that I did as a demo. I just carried on adding things until it got to a place where I wanted. It's a very simple song. No keyboards, just guitars, bass and drums, acoustic, electric. A wonderful singer, a beautiful message, and we didn't overthink it. If you go to the website and sign up for the email list, you'll be able to download this song and many others, and you'll also get information on competitions and all kinds of fun things coming up. And of course, you can look at the Academy if you want to join that as well, and you'll get a monthly free song for that. There's Google Hangouts, a whole bunch of other fun stuff. Thank you ever so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing.